Hi friends, in this video I'm going to talk about how AWS Lambda works internally. In the previous video I was talking about serverless computing. So on-demand execution of code, I was explaining the previous video, like a cloud provider will provide you the computing platform. So you have to focus only on your product. You don't have to worry about how exactly your product will be running. So the cloud provider takes care of creating your servers and managing it, and he also takes care of operating system and required software, managing the hardware, and ensure your product has scalability, can scale. If there is any more traffic, your product can scale. And they also ensure your application is available 24/7. So briefly I talked about serverless computing in the previous video. Now in this video I'm going to talk about how the AWS Lambda works internally. Lambda it's like a function, a simple function. It can run and execute a task and then go for shutdown mode. Okay, so AWS Lambda is a compute service that lets you run code without provisioning or managing servers. Like, you don't need to have a server, you don't need to worry about servers. You have to just worry about, like, you have to think about your business logic. You have to write in a language, okay, and then deploy your Lambda, deploy your function to AWS. So AWS Lambda executes your code only when needed and scales automatically. Let me show you a picture and then explain. So look at this picture, how AWS Lambda works internally. Suppose you have a very simple application, like whenever a user uploads an image, okay, then the image has to be validated. It should be like some pattern, there should be some size you want to check. So it's a very simple application. Whenever a user loads or uploads an image, this Lambda wakes up and then execute the sense, like it checks the size and whatever the requirement you want, size and the quality and the extension of this image, if there is any virus. So this image validator is going to check the image, and then once the validation is done, it can allow the user to upload the image. So this is like a Lambda. This is like a function which is residing inside the AWS infrastructure. So look at the flow. Like user, for example, he is uploading an image. The moment the request hit the cloud infrastructure, like AWS infrastructure, what happens? Immediately a container is launched, a very small tiny container, a very small computer with small OS, and your code, which will be lying in some hard disk. For example, you might have written using Python or Node.js or Java or Kotlin. So these are the languages currently supported, as far as I know. So using one of this language, you can write your Lambda function. Then whenever there is a request comes, a container is launched. A container means a small computer which can handle this request. Okay, so a small container like a VM started, small OS, and then your code will be launched or your code will be called. Then your code takes control and then process the image that has been uploaded by the user. Once your image validator has completed its task, it goes for sleep for a while. Okay, then if there are no requests, this container will be killed and it's shut down. Okay, and you can ask me, like, what if there are more people, more users are interacting with your application? Then what happens? If there are more requests, more containers are created, more VMs are created, small VMs are created, so that you don't have to worry about how your product can serve the users. You have to just think about the Lambda function that you develop. Okay, so if there are more requests, AWS will take care of, the cloud provider will take care of launching the container for each request. Okay, so your responsibility is to write your Lambda function using any of this language. Okay, so this is how the Lambda works. Once the image validator is completed, the task is completed, then it's shut down, and there is something called cold start and warm start. Warm start means like the container will not be destroyed. For example, first time a user request uploads the image. At that moment, there were no containers at all, zero containers. Then the AWS will start a container and then load the code. This is called as cold start. Okay. Then once the image validator, the coding, the computing is done, the the image validator code will be removed from the container, but still this container will retain as it is. It'll wait for few minutes to check if there are any more requests to serve. Okay, so in that case it's called as like warm start. So immediately whenever a request comes, immediately the image validator loads the code and then executed, and the task is completed. Okay, so cold start means it's like from the zero, like at a new request came, there are no containers from the beginning, container has to launch and application has to be loaded. Warm start means already container is there, just we have to load the code, execute it. So always people prefer to have the warm start because your application performance will be really good, because because your user will get faster response because AWS is not launching the containers from the beginning. Okay, because the container is already there. Okay, let's see the benefits of the Lambda. Before that, I need to check the third point, like you pay only for the compute time you consume. That means the Lambda consume few minutes or few seconds of your CPU cycle, the AWS CPU cycle. So you pay only for the Lambda used computing time. There is no charge when your code is not running with AWS Lambda. You can run code for virtually any type of application or backend service, all with zero administration. You don't have to worry about how many servers will be running, where it will be running, like what happens if there is a more request, more traffic. You don't have to worry. The cloud provider takes care of the administration. Okay, the infrastructure. That's why it's called as infrastructure as a service. So then AWS Lambda supports currently Node.js, Java, C#, Go, and Python. So let's see the benefits. Like from the product development perspective, you can focus on your customer requirement, the user requirements, and the business logic that you need to develop your product, and a scalable application with less effort. So you don't have to like have your clusters, your own data center. No, you have to just focus on your product, and you should be ready to pay money to the cloud providers for managing your applications, and reduced cost of execution, because you don't need admin team, or you don't need to own your own data center. You don't have to order the hardwares. So yeah, these are the benefits. And multiple language support like Node.js, Kotlin, Java, Python. And there are some disadvantages as well, because of complex call pattern. So once you upload your Lambda function, like how it reaches the Lambda, for example, if you have a CloudFront, an API gateway, and whenever you make a call to your Lambda function, it goes through the CloudFront, and you can connect using API gateway, and then to your Lambda function. For example, here CloudFront, Route 53, CloudFront, and then API gateway, and then your Lambda. So it's a little challenging to debug your application, and you have less control over the environment, and design decisions are really challenging if you don't have experts like experience on this field. So now I've just briefly talked about how AWS Lambda works internally. So whenever there is a request comes, there are no containers. Whenever the request comes, AWS look at the request and start a container and load the Lambda and execute it, and then shut the Lambda. Okay, let's do one thing. Now I'm going to create a Lambda. So this is my AWS console. I've already logged in with my account. If you don't have, please log into your AWS console account and then click on the Lambda. I'll go to the home page. You can just type Lambda here and then you'll get this page. Okay, so now I'm going to do one thing, like I'm going to create a very simple function for you, Lambda function for you. So it's like my first Lambda. Okay, and then don't worry about this roles. Maybe I'll be talking about this role in the future videos. Okay, so I'm going to create a function, a Lambda function, and it's going to be in JavaScript. So runtime, I choose Node.js. If you would like to choose any other, for example Java 8 or Python, please go ahead and choose. So I'm going to choose Node.js, and then I'm going to create this function. So it gets created immediately. We can see the Lambda function ready. Now I'm going to, so it gives you a sample code here. Okay, so we can see the code here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it now. So let's test it. Like configure events, I'm going to do like API gateway. So it's like, what does it mean? It's like this Lambda function will be called by an API gateway. Okay, so I'll say it's a get employee event. For example, somebody is calling get employee event and I want to change the method to get because it's get. So here it's get, and then I'm going to use like department, and I'm going to say science department. Okay, science department, and one more place I need to change here, get. So now I'm going to create a test event. So this is how you can test your Lambda, and I want to print the value here. So what I can do is like console, you can test your Lambda console.log. So whatever I'm passing from the test event here, I can see it here. So query string, okay, so department. So I'll save it and then I'll hit test. So you can see here what I've done is I created an API gateway event, and then I'm trying to access from my event the query string parameters that I passed, which is science. You can see here. So I'm able to access the event value, the query string parameters that I passed from here. You can see here. So the value that I passed is here. It's like someone calls this Lambda. This is my first Lambda. Okay, so whenever someone calls this Lambda, this part of the code will be executed. Okay, so looking at the picture, so what happened when I try to test it, it's similar to a user hits this Lambda. Okay, and it got executed. I wrote the code in JavaScript like Node.js. Then what would have happened is AWS started a very small computer like a VM. Then it also launched the Node.js, and then it took my first Lambda and placed on top of Node.js and ran, and then we saw the value. Okay, this is what I had in my agenda. Hope this video is useful and helpful. If you like this video, please click on the like button. If you want to share with your friends, please share with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel because I'm going to post more technical videos since I'm very much interested to teach all my subscribers. Thank you and all the best for your career. Thank you.